session today, just for 2 hours. If it's possible, we'll finish before the 2 hours. I have to rush to get my passport at the embassy of Germany. Okay, we start with a welcoming. So if Dr. Ndakala is around, he will just say a welcome to all of us. And after we'll get a presentation on the capacity building. So we're still having people joining. So let me allow them to join. Mukanu, okay. We'll get the presentation that will take around 30 minutes. Where we'll look at the attribute, the importance of a capacity building, and also to see how the community of practice can assist. And especially, we are going to ask ourselves a question after we went through a capacity building program, after a training like the one you went through with UNESCO IBE. So what next? What do we do after that? Okay, so we'll get a discussion around that. So on the program, we have a plenary discussion, but before we get the discussion, I will take you through also some insight on the terms of reference. I know you started working on it. I didn't participate when we were busy with the last training workshop. But I'm going just to share with you some ideas which will allow you to finalize it. And we'll see how the technology can help us to work on it simultaneously on the same page using this platform. Okay. So later on, we'll just do some hands-on activities, just a little bit. I started earlier with Cornelius, and he managed to connect, and he's in the group named the Zambia Community Zambia. So we'll do it together and see how to progress. So these kind of sessions, we are going to do them often. It will depend on your availability. So we are busy promoting the use of community of practice to help people to come together and to start doing what we call action learning. Action learning is a way of solving problems, but before to solve the problems, we do investigate, we try to understand what it's all about, and that will allow us, working as a community, really to quickly solve most of the issues that we have in our professions. So after the hands-on activity, it will be around 40 minutes if we'll be able to do so. And after we'll conclude the workshop, I would like to finish around 12. If we can finish a little bit before, it will be good before they close. I have to go to get my passport. Okay. Let me immediately start with the presentation, but if you have any question or any contribution on the program or something that you'd like me to add or for us to discuss, you can also mention it. We'll do. It will be a pleasure for me to do it. Anything to add or to modify? But feel free to do even while we are busy with the program. I'm very flexible to add something that you may feel that is important for you. Okay. Let me quickly start with the first item. So the first item was for the welcoming. So I saw Dr. Ndakala connected earlier, but I don't see him. Dr. Ndakala, are you on call? I don't see him, but it's fine. Anytime he join us, he will say something just to encourage participants really to learn how to use this very powerful tool that will help you really to move together and to solve issues that you have collaboratively. Okay, let me share my presentation. Let me know if you can see what I shared on the screen. Okay, I'm going to talk. Okay, I already shared this presentation in the community of practice and the community Zambia, so I will show you how to reach there. I shared quite a number of documents for this session. I will talk about two things. Learning, I'm asking a question, we have learned, so what next? So here is to see how the community of practice can help us really to move forward and to start doing what we are good in, solving problems, enhancing education system in the Zambia. Okay. So I'm getting people coming. Okay, I allow them. The next item will be the terms of reference. So I know you worked on it. So it will be to share some ideas and for you to fast track the finalization of this document because it's very important. UNESCO would like to get this document to make some programmation on how to continue working with Zambia in this area of uh, curriculum and other connected matters. Now, I think all of you are aware that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, but this era has bring unprecedented complexity to education. So things are really very complex because we are looking for special skills for students in order to address complex, difficult issues the world is facing. So with the fourth industrial revolution, which is mainly linked to the usage of technology, including artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, and so on. And you will see that the jobs of tomorrow will be linked on those type of technologies because this will help businesses to be connected and services to be offered much easily. And this is a big challenge that we have. And we have really to take consideration of the interdisciplinary nature of knowledge and a changing labor market. Because what we can see today, we have knowledge driven economy. So which really requires our students to possess knowledge, but that is not enough. They have to apply those knowledge in order to address issues, to be innovative. Now, due to this rapid and complex state of the world we are living in, education must evolve to meet these challenges by fostering critical thinking, adaptability, and collaboration. And this is very important. And you can see what I'm saying here is actually talking to us as the curriculum developers. We need to find ways to ensure that some of these aspects I'm going to say here, we are going really to find ways to embed them, to integrate them within our curriculum framework, within our curriculum, and the different subjects, programs that we are developing. Education must also embrace interdisciplinary learning, prepare students for emerging jobs, because there are a lot of jobs that are not yet there. And we are required to prepare our students to be able to do it. Otherwise, you will find that our countries are looking for people from outside to come to help, to come to do the job. And that's not good. Okay. Now, to address the complexities of knowledge-driven economy, education must become more personalized. So have to take consideration of the learner needs. We have to make sure that the individual learner is well supported. Should be data-driven to ensure that what we are going through are proven by data, and of course ethical, because you know with artificial intelligence a lot of things that are unethical may happen. Education must leverage technology to enhance learning experiences and provide lifelong learning opportunities. And this is one of the biggest issues that we have actually, is that I'm getting some calls, is that we are in education, we are required to prepare students for the future. We have to prepare them to something that we don't know right now. And how can we do that? So there are two options, very important. We'll get time to discuss in this community of practice. And this is a very big component of curriculum when we talk about curriculum transformation. How do you prepare our students today to be ready for the jobs of tomorrow? Something that we don't know. So that is a challenge. So lifelong learning is important because it will help the student once they are out there doing the work, or when they are facing new things, they will continue learning, continuing learning. Why? Because they can get access to anything they need using technology. So that is something very important. We talk about it at a later stage. So we must educate, we must leverage technology to enhance learning experiences and provide lifelong learning opportunities. So, sorry, let me connect somebody who is in the lobby, sorry. Josephine, okay. So you can see the last point is really supporting the second last, where we are required. I think this is repeating twice. Yeah, so we have discussed already about this. Concerning the two most important aspects to prepare students for the future is the usage of technology, because technology can help you accessing any information you want, and lifelong learning. Even though we have completed our studies, we are professionals, learning never stops. Why? Because complexities of situations continue growing. Now, the question that we can ask ourselves is the following. Is your education system in Zambia? Is the education system in Namibia? Is the education systems around Africa are really possessing these mentioned attributes? Are we ready with this aspect that are mentioned? How ready are we? If we are not ready, which aspect is a challenge to us so that we can move together, we can progress together? So what I'm going to say, you know already, I presented to you last time, is about what is community of practice. So we have this specialist in this community of practice. Etienne Venga is a researcher. He worked a lot on advancing community of practice around the world. So him is saying that a community of practice is a group of people, is like us in this call for this session. We can start working together to address the need that we have to support each other, to share our expertise, to share our resources. You will see that I started already sharing resources within the community Zambia. Okay, so the community of practice has a three main element. We spoke about them, is the domain, the community, and the practice. And you remember we said any community is not a community of practice. In order for a community or a group of people to constitute a community of practice, all the members have to be practitioners. They have to be working in the domain they spoke about, and they are doing actually the work. So it's not observers. Of course, you can get members in the community as observers. Maybe these are the people who will be providing some kind of financial support, or ministerial people who would like to see how you are working in order to resolve problems. You can even run a project with the Ministry of Education or other department within the Ministry of Education to address issues. So the practice aspect is very important and is the key. Of course, the domain, we have the same and shared domain interest. So we are human beings within that community, and we are the practitioners. So these three elements make a community of practice. And you remember through the theory of change, it takes us through the process of being a member of the community. We are a member, and we learn things, and we are looking forward to continue working with other members within the community. Later on, and this constitutes the immediate value. You get answers, you get resources, and so on. So now you start getting some kind of relationships with members. You become really closer collaborators. You start exchanging, discussing, etc. And this is a potential values. And when you start now implementing what you learned, that's you have a applied value. Later on, when you implement some of these skills that you gained, you will get the realized value. At the end of the day, you will gain the transformative value, which is going really to help you now to start doing things differently in a proper way or solving problems. So you are in the process of creating a community of practice. So I'm not sure how far you are with the terms of reference. We'll get a discussion. It's not really a big deal. It's something that can be done very quickly. So we have a six. We have a 6-step that we are proposing. So actually, we are busy finalizing a guide sponsored by UNESCO. We have a draft. You remember I shared with you two documents, but we are busy putting it in one document. That is going to provide some guidelines on how to create the community, quite a lot of things, and is in the same time having some portion of training manual within that document. Okay, so we have a 6 steps. We have to plan on the community we want to create. We need to organize the people that are going to be the potential members. We need to define the objectives, etc. We need now to start focusing on what we want to produce. What are the results we are looking for? Okay, and this is part of the scope. And after the learning, what we call mutual learning is a very important concept in education. Mutual learning is a concept that many organizations are using, universities and the schools. Is a collaborative learning. So we'll get the time to discuss about this. And I have a good resources that I will share with you, and leadership. So a community of practice needs leaders, not to control, but these are the people that will be supervising some activities. They will take the lead to engage other members, but everyone in a community is a leader to ensure to achieve the goal that they have of being a member. Now, a very important question here that I'm going to ask, let me also connect another colleague. Kennedy is coming in, and then Nawa, okay? The question is, we have learned, we always learn, we do research, we get information, and we get discussions. Now, the question is, after doing all of that, what next? So you remember you went through a training, which was time consuming from your side. We were really we acknowledge the effort you put in to finish the program to graduate, if I can call like this, but this was just a professional development. Yeah, it was not an academic program. So after going through the process, so what is going to happen now? There were a reason why Zambia decided to go through that program. And you remember what in Namibia, we call them executive director, but these are permanent secretary. You remember the intervention of the permanent secretary during the opening? He really mentions the curriculum place in the development of Zambia, and how it is a very, very important aspect to achieve the educational goals. Now, what are we going to do next? So after learning, I'm going to show some possibilities. Of course, they are not all of them, but most of them, you will find them there. So I will start with the worst scenario. So after learning, after the training we have been done, and people managed to get certifications, and everything went well. The capacity building was a success. So what happened after that? In a worst scenario, those who learned, we just go back to their routines, and it will be business as usual. So we don't want this to happen. We don't want this, okay? But this happened, and it will happen with some of the participants who attended, but I wish it won't be the case for even one person. But it happens sometimes. We need to be really to acknowledge that. So another possibility is when the person who managed to complete the training now is eager now to start implementing what they learned. So this is the best scenario. And this is what we want to see happening. And when somebody is trying to implement the new skills they acquired, they may succeed when they are trying. And they can enhance their knowledge, their competencies, their expertise to expand it. And this is the good thing. This is what even your curriculum center is looking for. This is what the Ministry of Education is looking for. This is what the whole country is looking for. And when this happens, there will be new competencies, and the person who managed to go through the process, we start now improving processes. It means the way the person is doing things and the way is resolving problems. But there is another scenario for people who are trying. They may not succeed while trying to implement what was discussed for many reasons. And this happens every day. When you are learning and it's time to implement, I don't believe that you will succeed all the time. It's not possible. Sometimes you'll get stuck. You need to come up with some strategies on how really to help yourself or to get some support. So when you don't succeed while trying to implement, sorry, there is somebody coming, so let me allow the person, just sorry, I will be stopping time to time. So when this situation occurs, is really a challenge for the person who is actually involved in this situation. We have two possible options. The person may get support from someone, maybe a colleague in the office, if that colleague is ready to share. And if the person gets that support, the person may try again, and this time the person may succeed. And when the person succeeds, now the person will be able to enhance the processes, to enhance the work to solve problems. That is good, the situation is resolved. But there is a situation where we get no one to support you, or those who are able to do so, they are not available, they are not willing to do so. They don't have the time, something that will prevent them to provide the support. So when you are in this situation, that's where the problem starts. You can't implement because you have some issues. What will happen? You will go back to your routines, the way you were doing things, and you will do business as usual. And when this happened, it means really, as professionals, we have failed. We got an opportunity to enhance our potential skills and competencies. We went through the program. We are willing to implement what we learned, but we are stuck somewhere and we can't continue. It becomes difficult, it becomes time consuming. So you go back to the way you were doing your business. Now, this is where community of practice comes in, where you will be with others. When you get stuck, you will always get somebody to support. There will be some sessions like this one where people can decide, no, let's really learn how to do one specific thing. So this is where community of practice comes in, and this is where you are actually, as members of a community, you are going really to excel, working together, supporting each other, and work in a small project to resolve problems. And you will see things will be much better in the education system in the Zambia. So I spoke about action learning. Action learning is a methodology where problems are handled through a process of first asking questions, because asking questions is another very high skills. You ask the real questions and you ask the tough questions in order to get the answers on the situation or an issue that you have in front of you. And you do that in a small group of people who are actually tasked to solve that problem. Because if you don't solve the problem will remain there. And with time, the problem maybe was smaller. With time, the problem is going to increase in terms of complexity because other things will be added on that challenge. Okay, so ask questions to clarify the exact nature of the problem, reflecting and identifying possible solutions. And only the take and after that, you may take actions because you have all the answers on what was not very clear, and people start working on the solutions. Okay, so during that question stage, members will be able to start building a kind of dialogue, okay, and cohesiveness to generate innovative and systems thinking. So the good thing in this community of practice, we are going to be looking at this important different aspects that really are so important in education, are so important for professionals, like a system thinking, innovative thinking, critical thinking, creative thinking. So these are very important things that are supposed also to be well defined in the curriculum. Now, let's quickly talk about the terms of reference, because I know you started working on it. So I'm not sure how far you are with it, but I'm willing, we'll work on it together. Yeah, because I worked on this kind of things in many occasions, in many projects. So of course, the terms of reference will come from you. You are the only one who can do it because you know the reality on the ground. Okay, let me add the person. Just there are two. Okay, they are in. Okay, terms of reference. It is very important really to get a rationale why we need a community of practice. Why is important? We don't do it because we had it from UNESCO or from other people, but in our own perspective. How can this help us? So I shared already this presentation. You will use it to see what I said at the first slide, those attributes that I ask a question if we have those attributes, okay? A rationale why we need that. We need to come up with the objectives of the community of practice. We need to look at the expected outcomes, because this will help us to ensure that we have achieved the objective. So the expected outcomes will always be linked to the items within the objectives. The scope, in which way, in which area, in which fields are we going to implement this community of practice? Because the community of practice cannot be implemented everywhere. You need to put kind of boundaries where it should not go beyond, if there is any. But you need to identify where you want to use this wonderful tool that is available to you, that you are going to create. Membership, who's going to be a member? Are only curriculum developers? But we should remember that curriculum is the heart of education. It's covering everything, starting from policy formulation up to the evaluation of the learner and the evaluation of the curriculum. So it's something very big. That's why I'm always excited working in curriculum, because working in curriculum, really, you need somehow to be very conversant with any thematic within the curriculum. And that makes curriculum developers usually to be people who are very well conversant with an education system in the country, because you are the people who are giving the pathways for quality education within the country. Governance, who are the leaders? What are their roles? And what are they all going to be doing? And how specifically are they going to communicate? How members are going to communicate among themselves? How activities will be communicated? So this helps really to get some kind of order, and members will really focus to what matters to them. Of course, when discussing activities, all members will be involved. It's not only one person who will make the decision. Yeah, many people will say, okay, our area within the curriculum, we are focusing on this. We need really this to be part of it. But as you know already, all the thematic are interrelated. They are interlinked within the curriculum. So everything can really work, even though you are not, for example, one of the people who are developing learning materials for students. There is another department doing it, but you can contribute really a lot, because what they are doing, those learning materials have to respond what the curriculum is looking for. Knowledge sharing and collaboration, this is the key for community of practice. How are we going to share knowledge? How are we going to collaborate? What is going to determine that we are doing it correctly? And activities and events. This is very important. You can get on the calendar some of the activities that you'd like to see happening. For example, you can determine that you want, because technology is a very important component in a curriculum, you may get a technology day within the Ministry of Education, supervised or headed by the Curriculum Center. You can get pedagogy day. You can get any day that may add or may transmit the information you want people to get. Okay, there is somebody who is trying to connect, so give me a second. Sorry for that. Okay, it's Petronella. Okay, activity and event. So you may decide how you want to see this happening. Resources and support. This is very critical. Sharing resources. Why we do this? We want all of us to be on the same level. Support. I have a problem. I'm one member of the community. How can we provide support? We can provide support on something like this, a session like this one. It doesn't matter that it may be 2 hours. It can even be 20 minutes only, just to show a small thing that make people stuck. Okay, so resources, the support, how are we going to share the resources? We'll talk about it. Evaluation and review. So this is very important. You evaluate your community to see really if you manage to achieve what is in the objectives. If you manage to achieve the expected outcomes of what, or the reason why the community has been created. And it's not a problem if you didn't achieve some of the things or you failed, because failing is part of the learning process. I think that's one you agree with me. So this is what I'm suggesting. It's just a template that I'm going to show you. I think I linked it here. I'm not sure if it will open. Yes, it's opening. Okay, I'm going to share this shortly. So I created a short template just as an example, just for inspiration on finalizing your terms of reference. And any support that UNESCO is going to provide, UNESCO will also look at your terms of reference and will help to provide that support that way. Okay, let me connect some colleagues. Okay, they are connected. So I created a small template, and I also shared in the community Zambia group. So I will show you where to get this. Okay, so let me, I think this is the end actually of my presentation. So let me quickly, if you can allow me to share that template. Terms of reference. It will be a very quick one. Can you see it? Just let me know. Can you see the? Okay, thank you very much. So this is just yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So this is just an example. It doesn't mean that it should look exactly like that. Yeah, this is just my short contribution. Just to, since I was not there when you were discussing the terms of reference, you will find probably some of the items that we have there are similar to what you discussed. So an introduction, a justification, a rationale is very important in your terms of reference. A background information to bring the context, why this community of practice, taking consideration of the educational priority for Zambia. This is very important. Always connect different things. And what I've seen in my experience, when you connect your project with the directives of, for example, the ministry or any organization, if you are looking for funding, make sure to do your research to find out what is the strategic plan of that organization or the strategic plan of your ministry. Check what they are saying they are going to do, and focus your project to achieve some of those elements. They will be very happy to support you financially or whatever you are asking. Why? Because you will help them to do some of the things they're supposed to do. So I've seen this is working very well. And we need to start now to strategize on how to do that within this community. And we'll do it together. We'll share. That's why we have this community. We are going to share information and expertise. So objectives. So this is normal that should be there. Clearly state the overall and specific objective of the community. You give the broader objective, which is linked to the major educational priorities of the country or the objectives of the Ministry of Education, because that's you report to the ministry. That will be very good. And when they see your terms of reference, they will see that things are going to happen, even for them in the Ministry of Education, even though you are a department part of the ministry. I'm not sure if you are a department or an institute or a directorate. So we have different names for curriculum centers. Expected result. This is really very critical because this will help you based on the objectives and based on the need of the community members and based on the educational priorities of the country, now to determine what you want to see happening when you are implementing, or at the end of a certain period, what you would like to achieve. The scope, this is the scope of application where this community of practice may be implemented. Let me add somebody. There is somebody. Michael and Priska. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. So the scope is where this community of practice is going to be implemented. Establish the scope. Decide where the scope or the community should not go to avoid the kind of conflict with the other existing structures in place. But community of practice can complement those other structures, especially when it comes for the learning purposes, to determine what we call the action learning, the way we defined it earlier. And if relevant, provide a description of the topics within the scope. But usually there is another point, activities and event, which is in this skeleton, where you can put the activities that you want to see happening during a certain period of time. So should be a member. So it's up to you to decide Why? Because you are the one creating the community. No one should come to tell you that you have to get A, B, C, D. You need to decide who will be the member. And but the advice I can give you is if you have community of donors, people who can support financially, technical support, and so on, please don't hesitate to add them so that they can see what you are doing. They can even advise in order to be in line with their own objectives for them to be able to support. I've seen that really work always very well. And how to join the community, somebody who is eligible, how that person can join, and the expectations of people participating, and what will be their contribution. And this is very, very important. So people knows their roles and responsibilities. So they will be accountable. Of course, it will be in a very collaborative and friendly and supportive way, not to play the role of the police. That is not the objectives. Governance is very important. This helps us really to get certain order. But this is not a kind of governance within an organization like a factory and so on. No, this is a group of professionals, but there will be those who will be tasked to see if what have been agreed is being implemented, to find out what is not going well and try to find solutions, to decide the type of activities and when this should be done. But even though they will be doing that, they will be consulting all the members. So you will work together on that, but there will be people leading some of those groups. So in the guide that we developed, we provided the different types of leadership. Okay, a second, somebody want to join? Okay, so governance is very important, is really to make sure that all the members are working together in an orderly manner and in an effective manner as well to achieve what they want to achieve. Okay, and it will be also to decide when terms of reference may be reviewed is very important. Things goes very quick. It may be a year, it may be 6 months, because something very important may come in and you may decide to add. So you will work collaboratively. Since it's your community, you have the full power to decide the frequency of updating the terms of reference. Communication is very important. What are the channels to communicate? Who should be in charge of communicating very important updates, for example? So this is very important. Knowledge sharing and collaboration, method of sharing knowledge, opportunities for collaboration. So this is a small session like this one. Encouragement of learning and professional development within the community. So these are things that you are going to decide and to incorporate in terms of reference. And everyone who will look at it, even those who are funding the activities of the curriculum center, for example, or other directorate within the ministry that are involved in this community of practice, they will really find is a very good place really to make things happening, because you are very practical and you are solving problems. And here you will decide the activities. You will get a kind of calendar, the major activities, maybe a conference, a national conference, which may be virtual to reduce the costs and to give the opportunity to everyone to attend. It may be some workshops time to time, but regular to a certain period of time. It will be meetings, those kind of things. So those are the things that you may add in that terms of reference Resources and support, this is important. For me, this is the key. You remember the small scenario I provided you after capacity building, what next? You may want to apply what you learned, but you may get some difficulties. You need a place where to be supported. So the community of practice is the right place to be. Evaluation and the review. So this is very important, where you are going now to be, to look at what happened during a certain period, to look at the objectives, to look at the expected outcomes, and to see if you managed to achieve some of them. And what you didn't achieve, you look for why you didn't. Maybe there were mistakes, maybe you didn't get the time, you didn't get the resources. Everything can happen, and it doesn't mean that is a big problem. If something is not achieved, there is a reason, and is to look how to resolve it. And that's why the community of practice will be there to do that. So this is a template that I said I will just share with you, just to provide some insight. And probably you are at a certain level. I'm not sure how far you are with it. And we are going to get the discussions. You can involve me. I will be giving some few information in the spirit of community of practice. Colleagues, thank you very much for listening to me. So here we manage to finish two things: capacity building. What next? This was that presentation and the terms of reference, just to give you the insight. And let's get a discussion around what I presented to you, and what you think about what I said, and what we should do, or how we can do things taking consideration of the situation in your own context, because you know better than me. I can just suggest. I can maybe suggest things that don't make sense to you because the context is completely outside the context. Yeah, so let's get a small discussion about what we said about this community of practice. Colleagues, the floor is yours.